Well, hi there! A little while back, I attended a very well-taught presentation about the differences between tarantulas and spiders. It was honestly really well done. Real spiders and real tarantulas were used in the demonstration. It was very well presented. It was clear that the educator was very experienced and that this presentation had been given many, many times before. By the end of the presentation, everyone there knew clearly the differences between tarantulas and spiders. The only problem with the presentation as I saw it was that tarantulas are spiders. And as a biology educator, I can tell you that the one thing that is worse than an ignorant person is a person that has been taught misinformation very well. Because an ignorant person can be taught, well, just by teaching them. Because a miseducated person, well, the first thing you have to do is identify that they've been miseducated. And once you figure out what they have learned that was wrong, you need to teach them why that was wrong before you can ever teach them what's actually right. But the thing is that I do understand how a person could think that tarantulas aren't spiders. There is a group of spiders often referred to as the true spiders, and tarantulas aren't a part of it. So what are they? Why are they spiders? And what the heck is a true spider? Well, let's start off with what is a spider, which is a different question from what is a true spider. Even though anything that is a spider truly is a spider, even if it isn't a true spider. Now, we already discussed the defining features of a spider in our video about all of the arachnids. But spiders, true or truly, have a number of things in common with one another. One of those things is that they have two main body regions, a prosoma and an opisthosoma. 6 total pairs of appendages, 8 walking legs, 2 pedipalps, and 2 chelicerae. No mandibles and no antennae. Of course, these are things that all chelicerates share. Based on these features, I wouldn't even be able to tell you if a tarantula is an arachnid, let alone a spider. I mean, this could be the beginning of a description of a horseshoe crab for all I know. So how do I know a spider when I find one? Let's start with the chelicerae. Chelicera means claw. And this isn't referring to the claw-like pedipalps of many chelicerates, such as scorpions, pseudoscorpions, vinegaroons, and tailless whip scorpions, but rather their claw-like mouth parts. I first noticed these claw-like mouth parts on my emperor scorpion, but they're particularly conspicuous on sun spiders, as they're just enormous. But as we mentioned before, these chelicerae are a defining feature of all chelicerates, which includes arachnids like spiders. But the chelicerae of spiders are modified into fangs, which are generally hypodermic in nature and are used to inject venom, generally. Though there is one family with no venom at all. But to my knowledge, spiders are the only chelicerates that inject venom with their chelicerae, though they aren't the only venomous chelicerates. And they're the only chelicerates to have their mouth claws modified into fangs. But this isn't the only way to identify a spider. At the complete opposite side of their bodies, at least that's usually where they're located, spiders have 1 to 4 pairs of silk-producing spinnerets. These are the only appendages on the opisthosoma and are unique to the spiders among chelicerates, though there are others that produce silk, just not with spinnerets. And one more thing that is not totally unique to the spiders, but they have leg-like pedipalps that lack any sort of claw-like structure. Though mature males will have a palpal bulb at the end of their pedipalps, which could look like a claw if you just took a quick glance at it. That said, it isn't a claw. It's a sperm transfer apparatus, which is located, interestingly, basically as far away from the testes of the spider as is possible. And there is no connection between the testes and the palpal bulb. And if you don't mind, I think we should talk about it. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN, and give you the top 5 reasons that NordVPN might be the perfect VPN for you. First, NordVPN gives you enhanced privacy and security. VPNs encrypt your internet traffic, making it difficult for hackers, ISPs, or agencies to monitor your online activities or steal your data. NordVPN also bypasses geo-restrictions. VPNs allow you to access content and websites that might be restricted or blocked in your region by masking your IP address and routing your connection through servers in different locations. NordVPN can make it so you can browse anonymously. VPNs can provide provide a level of anonymity by hiding your real IP address, which can help protect your identity and sensitive information. NordVPN can help secure public Wi-Fi. When using public Wi-Fi networks, VPNs add an extra layer of security, preventing potential eavesdropping or malicious attacks on your data. And fifth, NordVPN can give you remote access and privacy at work. VPNs are commonly used by businesses to secure remote access for employees. They ensure that data transmitted between remote workers and company servers remains confidential. And if any of these 5 things are important to you, then NordVPN might be the perfect VPN for you. So secure your journey with NordVPN's 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months free by visiting nordvpn.com/ClintsReptiles. Again, that's nordvpn.com/ClintsReptiles. And remember, it's all backed by Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So whether in the wonderful world of reptiles or the vastness of the internet, let's be responsible and mindful explorers. Now let's get back to spiders. Let's start with the fact that spider mating can be a dangerous interaction for male spiders. Female spiders tend to be much larger than males, and male spiders are often eaten after mating. Now, spiders have internal fertilization. This means that in order to mate, a male spider must insert sperm into the epigyne of the female. The epigyne of the female is located on the bottom of the opisthosoma, near the connection to the prosoma between the openings to the book lungs. This is on the bottom of the spider, about halfway between the spinnerets and the fangs, and on the fang side of the spider. To gain access to the epigyne of the female, the male in many cases must get under the female, which generally means that he needs to put some part of his body directly under the fangs of his potential mate. As we mentioned earlier, the testes of the male are in the opisthosoma, as is the gonopore from which the sperm is released. If a male would be to bring his gonopore to the female's epigyne, his entire body would be directly under the female's fangs. That works once. But male spiders have a better way. A way that might work more than just one time. So instead of placing his entire body under the fangs so that his gonopore can come into contact with the female's epigyne, he spins a little web. It's called a sperm web. Try to guess why. Well, he deposits his sperm on the sperm web. That's why. But this is hardly a solution to the problem. Fertilizing a web is actually kind of a step backwards from successfully mating once. Fortunately, male spiders are experts at taking steps backwards to avoid being killed during mating. Because after they deposit their sperm onto the sperm web, they pull the sperm into their palpal bulbs at the end of their pedipalps, using a still somewhat poorly understood process called sperm induction. Essentially, they pull sperm into the palpal bulb like one of those tube water guns that you front load from the pool or a bucket. You know what I'm talking about, though the mechanism may work quite differently. Sometimes they do this before they go to look for a mate, and sometimes they do it after a mate has been located. But he can't mate until this is done. At this point, the trick is to convince a lady that you are a mate and not a meal. The way that they do this varies from species to species, but it involves things like drumming or dancing. Sometimes he ties her up. There are lots of options, and some of them sound creepier than others when taken out of context. But the key here is to not die before mating. If there's one thing worse than being killed right after mating, it's being killed right before mating. There is no worse feeling than being eaten alive with your palpal bulbs full. Once you have danced successfully, then you need to get the female to rear up and give you access to her epigyne. A dangerous place to be. But the good news is that you don't need to put your whole body under there. Just reach out with your pedipalp, fire off that palpal bulb, and then take some steps backwards, turn, and run for your life. I discussed this already in our video on black widows. And one of the big questions was, well, why don't the males fight back? Which is a fair question. One reason is that they are often much smaller. That's certainly the case for black widows. But that isn't the main reason. The male didn't do all of this just so he could engage in a fight to the death with a much larger spider. He did this so that his genes can make it to the next generation, even if he doesn't understand that this is the goal. If he kills the female at this point, he has taken a giant risk and accomplished nothing. He still needs her to produce and often care for the eggs and spiderlings. But after they mate, guess what the female needs from the male? Nothing. Though a meal would be nice. Alright, now you know what a spider is. You know more than you ever imagined you would know about how spiders mate. But we still don't know what makes a spider a true spider, or why tarantulas truly are spiders, even though they aren't true spiders. In today's video, we had a pretty tremendous discussion of spider mating, and I can tell you, when we first discussed the intricacies of spider mating and what might motivate a male, we had an incredible discussion. And that actually ended up turning into an entire video for our patrons on Patreon, because every week our patrons on Patreon get an extra video of all of the really cool extra things we discuss outside of just what you see in these videos. Sometimes those videos are longer and perhaps funnier and certainly, well, they're just wonderful. And if you want to see them yourself, please check out our Patreon. It really helps this channel to grow, and we have a lot of cool things for you as well. All spiders belong to the order Arachnidae, which is broken up into two clades, one big one and one tiny one that only has one or two families. The big clade is called the Mesothelae, and it has about 130 families in it. The small clade is called the Mesothelae, and the family or families in the Mesothelae are, well, the hagfish of spiders. All of the other spiders are more closely related to one another than they are to the Mesothelae. Mesothelae, for those of you who are wondering, means middle teat, because somebody apparently thought these were mammals. I guess they are a bit hairy. But it is not their mammary glands, but rather their spinnerets that are located in the middle of the opistosoma instead of near the end. That alone will tell you that the spider that you have found is a member of the Mesothelae. But that is not their only unique attribute, at least among extant spiders. They also have multi-segmented opistosomas with tergite armor plates, a trait common in ancient spiders but unique to this group today. And they're all found in Southeast Asia. Other than those two conspicuous differences, you might confuse them with other spiders such as, well, tarantulas. They have fangs that run parallel to one another, and their 8 eyes are all gathered together in a single cluster. But if you're in Southeast Asia and you see a spider that looks like a trapdoor spider, but with the opistosoma of a tailless whip scorpion and spinnerets tucked underneath, well, you'll know what you have. But let's talk for a moment about that trapdoor spider. Like the members of the Mesothelae, they truly are spiders, even though they aren't true spiders. But they also aren't tarantulas. So what are they? Well, the big group of spiders, the Mesothelae, the rear teat spiders, is also divided into two clades. Members of both clades are spiders with their spinnerets at the rear and no segmentation of the opistosoma. This is pretty much like almost every spider you've ever seen, at least before today. The two clades are the mygalomorph and the Arachnomorph. The mygalomorph contains around 30 families and a little over 3,000 described species. And the Arachnomorph, around 100 families and nearly 50,000 described species. Both far more diverse than the Mesothelae, which only has about 170 species. Trapdoor spiders are part of the mygalomorph, which means shrew form or shrew shaped. I guess somebody thought these were mammals as well. The hind-teated shrew form. That has mammal written all over it. But they're spiders. The reason for the name shrew form is due to their fangs running parallel to one another, kind of like the teeth of shrews. I don't know why they picked shrews specifically. Parallel teeth aren't really that uncommon. I would have called them the smilodontiform spiders, because if we're talking about huge parallel teeth, I think saber-toothed cats illustrate the concept a bit better than shrews, but that's just me. And it is important to note that this is an attribute that they actually share with the Mesothelae, as well as the shared ancestors of all spiders. That, as well as things like clustered eyes and 2 pairs of book lungs. Though again, their lack of opistosoma segmentation, as well as the placement of their spinnerets, should clear up any confusion. So what else is in the mygalomorph? Well, the answer is a whole bunch of cool groups. The reality is that the systematics of spiders is still pretty up in the air right now, but it seems pretty clear that the mygalomorphy contains 2 large clades. The smaller of the 2, called the Adipoidea, or atypical spiders, contains about 5 families. These are spiders such as purse web spiders, folding door trapdoor spiders, and sheet funnel web spiders. As their common names imply, these spiders generally live inside of silken retreats from which they can pop out and grab prey. Though these atypical spiders look a great deal like the other members of the mygalomorphy, they can be distinguished by the presence of vestigial tergites on the opisthosoma. In North America, Africa, and Europe, any spider with tergites will be an atypical spider. Only in Asia would you need to take a close look at the location of the spinnerets to be sure that you know which one you have. The remaining 25 or so families in the mygalomorphy fall into the clade Avicularioidea, the little bird spiders, or bird eaters. A combination of parallel fangs, rear-mounted spinnerets, and a total lack of tergites will set this group apart from any other. So who's in it? Lots of trapdoor spiders, funnel webs, and tarantulas, just to name a few. If tarantulas are not truly spiders, then nothing that we have discussed so far today would be either. But if we kicked all of these out of the spiders, well, who would be left? Well, just one clade, but the larger of the 2 clades of hind-teated spiders, the pincer-faced spiders of the Arachniomorphy, the spider-form spiders, often informally referred to as the true spiders, just to mislead well-intentioned arthropod educators into assuming that all of the other spiders are not truly spiders. And don't worry, the systematics of this group is also a bit of a mess at the moment. If you're looking for a good PhD project and you don't want to study mites, there is plenty of work to do on spiders, even if you only count the spider-form spiders as being spiders. Arachniomorphy can easily be distinguished by their fangs, which close towards one another, pincer style, not parallel like those of all of the other spiders. They also tend to only have one set of book lungs, and their eyes may be distributed more broadly on the prosoma. This is a group full of rad spiders. Spiders like wolf spiders, crab spiders, black widows, orb-weaving spiders, jumping spiders, recluse spiders, isopod-eating spiders, net-casting spiders, crevice weavers, huntsman spiders, velvet spiders, cobweb spiders, and wandering spiders, just to name a few. This is over 90% of all of the spiders alive today. And they are the most different, at least anatomically, from ancient spiders, including the shared ancestors of all spiders. Honestly, from a historical standpoint, the true spiders are the most atypical of all spiders. But since they've been so wildly successful, they are the most familiar of all spiders. That doesn't make them the only spiders, though they could be, if you want to come up with other names for the other 2 spider clades, as well as the ancestors that they all share within the Arachnia. So unlike birds from reptiles or snakes from lizards, it would at least be possible to create a group for spiders that excludes the tarantulas. So now, let's just enjoy a little bit of the marvel of spiders. What group should we cover next? As always, like and subscribe, and we hope to see you real soon. Yo, yo, yo! No. Hey, howdy, hey. How's this go?
Oh, there's the words.
Oh, well, hi there. Anyway, okay, sorry. Okay. Well, hi there.